Less than 2 weeks away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline, there are some pieces floating around out there. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort with our senior baseball editor, Chris Barr. Chris, let's start with starting pitchers. Who are the guys that are out there that you think are most likely to get traded and have an impact?
Well, the two wild cards obviously are going to be Zack Greinke and Cole Hamels, the Phillies and Brewers. Neither team has really thrown up the white flag yet. The Phillies have a nice little winning streak going. The Brewers have been kind of hanging back, 4 or 5, 6 games out of the wild card. So if either of those teams decide to sell, Hamels and Greinke will be the prizes. If not, I think you're probably going to see Ryan Dempster get traded. The Dodgers are the team that are really the hottest on him. And not just Dempster from the Cubs. Matt Garza is probably likely to get traded, I would say. The Royals have surprisingly been in on him. And then you've got a whole list of guys, Francisco Liriano, Wandy Rodriguez, Jason Vargas, Bartolo Colon, all of whom are having pretty good seasons and all of whom could really help a contender. So I think what's going to have to happen first is you might see Dempster move. The Cubs, reportedly are trying to get him on the move right now, and the Dodgers look like the favorite. But once that domino falls, and maybe once if the Brewers and the Phillies decide they're not in it or they can't re-sign Greinke and Hamels, you'll see those guys really take the headlines. I think if anything, you're going to see some of the smaller name guys go before Greinke or Hamels, just because those teams aren't ready to give up yet, and there's a lot of teams looking for starting pitching, so the demand is certainly there.
Now tell us about relief pitchers. Who's out there?
There's 3 big names right now. The Royals with Jonathan Broxton, the Padres with Houston Street, and the Brewers with Francisco Rodriguez. Interesting there is Rodriguez, K-Rod, the all-time single-season save leader, just took over as the Brewers closer. Kind of a suspicious timing, but John Axford, who was their closer, just basically has been falling apart. So the Brewers now have a chance to showcase K-Rod for a couple weeks and kind of really build up his trade value. I think for sure they'd be willing to let him go. So he's a proven closer. He's been in the playoffs. He's the guy that I think is going to really grab some attention. Broxton was formerly with the Dodgers, had elbow surgery, and has really bounced back well for Kansas City this season. And then Houston Street, another guy with a lot of career saves. He's been around, a proven guy. So those are 3 guys I think that are going to be in high demand.
And Broxton and Street, obviously those teams pretty much out of it.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of can they get a deal worked out. I think Street's for sure going to go. The Royals have shown some interest in trying to re-sign Broxton, but they'll have Soria back next year from Tommy John surgery, so they do have a backup plan there if they deal him.
And what about position players? Who's most likely to move?
Well, I think Justin Upton is the guy everybody's kind of waiting to see what happens here. He's having a rough year at the Diamondbacks. He's been called out by his owner. He's been called out by the fans. He's had other position players from other teams kind of rat on him in the press. So if they're willing to move a guy who's 24 and just a couple years ago looked like an MVP candidate, last year looked like an MVP candidate, if they're willing to move a guy like that, they're going to have everybody interested. Other than that, the big names you keep hearing are Carlos Quentin of the Padres, Chase Headley of the Padres. In addition to Houston Street, the Padres, I guess, are going to get rid of everybody on their roster who makes more than $25. So they're going to be a busy team. And I think the Phillies are going to be another team, like we talked about with Hamels. If they don't get this on track and they don't get closer than 9 or 10 games out in the wild card, you're going to see guys like Victorino, you're going to see guys Polanco, you're going to see Hunter Pence, you're going to see guys like Jimmy Rollins, who's drawn some interest. You're going to see a lot of those guys mentioned, and it's going to be more than rumors. It's going to be legitimate, stories at that point.
Feels like as a team, the Phillies are really, could they be seduced by a 5 or 6 game winning streak here, a 10-game winning streak that turns out to be fool's gold?
Definitely. I mean, this is what they've waited for, though. They've got all their team healthy. They've got Howard back. They've got Utley back. Roy Halladay came back Tuesday night, so it's like they want to give it a chance.
Right.
They are playing well.
And they've got like 2 weeks to really make a decision.
Yeah, but if they choose unwisely here and they keep all these guys and then finish 10, 15 games out of first place, it's going to be a mistake, I think.
Absolutely. All right, for Chris Barr, I'm Tom Vandervoort. Thanks for watching.